What's up? Welcome into Los Angeles, California, and Reiter's Block, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook Watch. I'm Bill Reiter. Saquon Barkley is going to be on the show. Pretty exciting. Reid Forgrave, my colleague who covers the NBA for CBS Sports, will join us from Toronto. And we're going to give credit to one of the people who deserves a lot of glory in these NBA Finals. That and more starts right now.
The goal is never just to get to the finals. The goal is to go win the finals.
We were working for April, May, and June, and, I'm not satisfied.
The championship pedigree, what that means is not panicking in big situations.
Nobody's giving us this thing. We got to go take it ourselves.
I don't care what talent you have. If you don't have toughness, you don't want to be here.
We're a super team for a reason.
We're in the finals, and we're not done yet.
4 more wins and get back to celebrating.
Welcome into the show, back into the show. Happy NBA Finals Day, and it's true. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to appreciate, first and foremost, or at least maybe first, not foremost. DeMarcus Cousins will play tonight. News came down earlier today. I think it's huge for the Warriors. We'll see where he's at and how many minutes he can play, but you always like it when guys come back from injury, able to contribute. Let's certainly celebrate Stephen Curry, one of the great players, for me, in the history of the game, but certainly in the game today, what he's accomplished putting this team on his back. Another huge resume builder on that greatest of all time, wherever he falls, list, resume, argument, if he can get this finals, get this team across the finish line, especially with KD being hurt. Certainly Kawhi Leonard deserves, and we've given it to him here on the show, a lot of love, a lot of praise, a lot of credit. But maybe it's the gambler in me, because I like to play poker, I like to do sports betting, I like to gamble with my friends. I'm a gambler, and the gambler of this NBA season, the gambler of this NBA Finals, for my money, literally and figuratively, deserves as much credit and as much glory and as much recognition as any of the guys that I mentioned or guys I haven't mentioned who have made this NBA Final Showdown possible, and that's Masai Ujiri, the president of basketball operations in Toronto. Make no mistake, Masai Ujiri did the hardest thing there is to do in professional sports, and that was to see an opportunity, to see an opening, to see a risk, and to understand that that risk went the wrong way. That gamble did not pay off, and you know sports gamblers, sometimes it does not, that he was going to take the blame, the burden would be his, the ridicule would fall on him. I'm talking about two things. First and foremost, making the trade for Kawhi Leonard. I get it. In retrospect, it looks obvious, it looks certain, it looks like an easy call, but remember, Kawhi was either severely injured or severely disgruntled with, at the time, at least in the Spurs, one of the most functional organizations in the NBA, or both, and they traded away in DeMar DeRozan, not a superstar, but the most beloved Raptor in the history of the Raptors, for a one-year rental on a guy we didn't know what his attitude or physically what he was going to be. That takes not just smarts, that takes guts. And then Ujiri also fired the coach of the year in Dwayne Casey, which I lamented on this show and on the radio show as a major mistake. I was wrong. The president of operations for basketball is the president of operations for basketball in Toronto for a reason. Masai was absolutely right, and that combination has lifted this Raptors team through a pretty dense Eastern Conference, at least the top 4 teams, to the finals. The guy deserves credit, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy internally. Kyle Lowry, and you have to have your second best guy play like your second best guy. Ask LeBron James, no matter how good your superstar is to make an NBA Finals. Kyle Lowry's best friend in the whole world was DeMar DeRozan. He found out from DeMar/the media that DeRozan was going to the Spurs, and after that happened, Kyle Lowry was not shy about sounding like what had happened to his organization was nothing short of a betrayal.
I felt betrayed because he felt betrayed, because that's my guy, that's my best friend. So, yeah, I felt some type of way on a personal side. It's a harsh business that it's a great business, but sometimes moves are made that you're like, wow. That sucks.
When you mix the business with the professional, or the business with the personal, things can get ugly. And it's something that just this week at the finals, Masai Ujiri himself talked about in recognizing what Lowry went through and the fact that Lowry obviously bought in, and they're here in the finals in part because of him.
I did understand how Kyle felt when
Obviously, we made the trade, and it was tough. DeMar's his best friend. In terms of Kyle, I've seen him grow. I've seen him grow as a person, as a leader on our team.
If you've ever been serious about gambling, and I certainly am in poker, and to a lesser extent in terms of finances, but very serious about sports betting, you know that it's not just how many you get right or wrong. It's when you see an edge, when you think you have an advantage, you put a whole bunch on it, sometimes everything, and if you make the right decisions and it comes up snake eyes, it comes up snake eyes. That's what Masai did. That is boldness in the NBA, a world with too many people who are safe and are protecting their jobs rather than trying to achieve in them. And I'll give you an example. Daryl Morey and the report he's willing to blow up the Houston Rockets, that takes guts. That takes stones. That's a gambler's edge, and he's going to be successful in the long run as a result. On the other side of that, Sam Presti did not have the gamble in him to manage up with his owner a few years ago when he could have kept James Harden, could have tried to go into that luxury tax, could have made him feel loved, and he ended up going to the luxury tax for much lesser players because he was too safe. Masai Ujiri, the biggest gambler in the NBA in the last year, he went for it. He saw an edge. It's always good when it pays off. The gamble paid off as much as Steph, as much as Steve Kerr, as much as Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard or Kyle Lowry. Masai Ujiri, one of the huge success stories of this NBA Finals, and he did it with the guts very few NBA GMs have. Good for that guy. I don't think he's winning an NBA championship this year. Doesn't matter. That gamble's already paid off. We got a lot to get to. Reed Forgrave's going to join me in about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll visit with him from Toronto, talk these NBA Finals. A little NFL for you, though. Saquon Barkley, Giants running back, going to join me on the show. Reiter's Block. I'm Bill Reiter. What's up? In just a minute here on CBS Sports HQ. All right, welcome back into Reiter's Block, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook Watch. I'm Bill Reiter. This is Los Angeles, California. And thanks to our friends at NFL 100, we are less than 100 days from the 100th season of the National Football League. We're going to talk to Saquon Barkley, running back for the New York Giants. Saquon, thanks for making time for us.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. I love the leg day with Saquon Barkley. 4 lucky fans are going to have the opportunity to work out with you for a day. I got to know, because my producer wanted me to try to get in the mix. How punishing is that leg day with Saquon Barkley going to be?
Definitely, still keeping a surprise. But I'm not going to be too hard on them. I'm going to take it a little easy and see how they start off. But as we continue to grow, get a little bit more intense.
I love that. Congratulations on a dynamic and very, very impressive first season in the NFL. How's your offseason been, and what's the workout regimen been like for you as you get ready for year 2?
Offseason's been great. Focusing on myself with speed and my running form and my mechanics, and continue to try to get stronger. A lot of people think when you get in the NFL that you don't have to lift as hard anymore, work as hard anymore, and that's something that I'm not going to allow myself to do. I have a great strength staff with the Giants, and they do a great job of challenging me and putting me in the right workouts, and have a great training staff who continue to, take care of my body and make sure I'm feeling the best I can so I can go out every single day with my workouts and with practice and attack the game.
Saquon, you're the reigning offensive rookie of the year, and obviously for you and for every guy that plays in the NFL, the goal for this season, every season, is to help your team and for your team to be Super Bowl champions. But for you, in terms of individual goals that you you believe can help the Giants get there, what are some of those things you personally want to do, want to accomplish, have your eyes set on this upcoming season?
Yeah, personal things that I want to do and things that I'm focusing on is challenging myself every single day. Every single day I get out of the bed, work to be the best. Work to be the best for my team. If I can continue to have that mindset and improve every single day, as a person, as a player, as a teammate, as a leader, all the other great things that come with individual success will come my way. And my mindset is continue to work hard and put team first and let God handle the rest.
You've got that first season behind you. You've had several months off to reflect on it and to think about what's ahead. Now that you've had this year under your belt, looking back, what is the one thing that most surprised you about the National Football League?
The one thing that most surprised me would be a lot of people told me that, rookie wall, by week 8, the season's going to feel so long because we go straight from a bowl game and to training for the combine, and after combine prep to training for the draft, and after the draft, getting drafted and going to a team, and we kind of never really get a break. And for me, it flew by. It flew by for me, and I was so caught up in that hype and just kind of waiting for when that moment was going to hit me. But I think and I believe when you're having fun with something and you love something, that time goes by, and that's why life goes by so fast. And for me, the biggest surprise was how fast the season went by, and how much fun I had with it. Because talking to former teammates and former rookies, a lot of them dreaded how hard the season was and how your body felt. But for me, I think I took a pro mindset to it, and surround myself with a great team on the field and off the field, and in the facility and outside the facility, and made my job and made my life a lot easier.
Interesting intersection of the future and a very storied past for the Giants this year at the quarterback position. As you know, as we all know, Eli Manning's still there. The guy's going to be a Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl champion. But the Giants went out and drafted Daniel Jones as their quarterback of the future. How do you expect that dynamic and that quarterback competition to play out this season?
Well, yeah, obviously, a lot of people expected that we would address the quarterback position this year. And how do I think it's going to play out? I think I'm a big believer in, competition brings out the best out of everyone. And I know Eli's been around Eli for a year and only been around Daniel Jones for a couple of months, but you can tell both those guys are competitors and going to do whatever it takes to help their team win. And it's going to bring out the best of them, and it's going to bring the best out of our team. And at the end of the day, it's all about team mindset. And, I keep telling Daniel, just continue to come out here, work every single day, and try to find something to get better at every single day. And you got to sit back and watch and learn from the likes of Eli. Like you said, future Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and he does it the right way. And so I think it's a blessing for Daniel to have a guy like that in front of him, but also a blessing for Eli to give him a little bit more competition and push out the best for him also too. And at the end of the day, ultimately, when you have those two guys competing at a high level, it forces us to elevate our game, and when we all elevate our game, we're just a better team.
Saquon, last year when the Giants took you number 2 overall, they passed on several quarterbacks. They wait a year. They get Daniel, their quarterback of the future. Given that dynamic, the fact they took you before they took a quarterback, do you feel extra investment? Do you feel extra hope or the need for Daniel Jones to be the right quarterback for this organization going forward?
No, I don't feel any extra hope or any extra need for Daniel Jones to be the future, or for Daniel Jones to have a great career because of the Giants decided to select me at number 2. I think the Giants did what they felt was best, and I think that I proved to them in my first year, and where I will continue to prove to them for years to come that they made the right decision for the right decision there. And for Daniel Jones, I just hope he's very successful and hope he has a great career for him because he's my teammate. I don't care that the Giants took me last year and we passed the quarterback, and now that we have a quarterback, and hopefully he's a quarterback of the future so no one can even make those comments anymore. No, I want him to be the quarterback of the future and have a great long career and win multiple championships because he's my teammate. And the better he plays, the better it helps the team. And I'm all about winning and all about team focus, and we'll love to win championships there. And I think when the time is right, I think he can help us in that area.
Saquon, two quick questions for you. I know you got to run. I love loyalty, and I love your loyalty to Penn State, and I love Miles Sanders' loyalty to you. You obviously were there before him. He's now been drafted by the Eagles. You guys have a connection from school. You have a connection beyond that. Seems like a really strong relationship. Are you able to root for Miles now that he's a Philadelphia Eagle?
Yeah, of course. Of course I'm going to root for Miles. I hope Miles has a successful career. I hope Penn State could bring back, two Rookie of the Years. But when it comes down to playing us, and when it comes down that we got to go down to Philly, or when you guys come up to New York, hopefully he don't have a great game with us, or he can play as well as he can. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking for the win. And but I would never wish nothing but success for him. I know what he's been through, being a 5-star running back, and coming to the school when he could have went to multiple schools and started from day one. Being able to sit behind me, and when his opportunity came, make the plays, and then when I left to go to the draft, it wasn't even a drop off in our position. And now you see that one of the top running backs drafted this year, and in my opinion, probably the best running back in the draft this year. So wish nothing but success for him. And I know when we play them, it's going to make me wake up a little bit different because I know he's on that time, because I know he's going to bring it and try to show the world, try to show Penn State, everybody, that he's been playing over me, and I'm going to try to show the world that he shouldn't have been. And but at the end of the day, like I said, I hope it's nothing success. But when it comes to those 2 games against us, hopefully he has an offset.
All right, last question for you. You're joining us thanks to NFL 100. We're less than 100 days, 98 days away from the 100th season of the National Football League. We can't wait for the season to get going. For you, as you look at your team at NFL 100, what's your expectation, what's your anticipation for your Giants team this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's goal is to compete for Super Bowl, and that's our mindset and that's our mentality. And we know that it's easy said and done, but my mindset is, and our mindset is to continue to come every single day and get better and push each other to get better and take it one day at a time. And when the season comes in, take it one day and one game at a time and 1 week at a time. And we continue to have that right mindset and continue to stay healthy. I think the sky's the limit for the team.
Saquon Barkley, very cool of you to make some time for us. Appreciate you. Continued success going forward. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Very cool to have Saquon Barkley on the show. We're going to go from one great guest to another. My colleague Reid Forgrave covers the NBA here at CBS Sports. Going to join us from Toronto, from the site of Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which is just a few hours away. We'll visit with Reid here in a second on Writer's Block.
As a competitor, if you're trying to do something meaningful, if you don't have the mindset that you're the best ever, you failed already. So if you don't have the mindset that you are the best reporter ever, then you already failed. And that's been my mindset since I can remember. That will be my mindset as long as I can remember anything, that I am the best ever at what I do.
This is Writer's Block presented by Stephen versus the Game. That was Draymond Green, and we go now to Toronto to talk to Reid Forgrave, who, interestingly, yesterday I was talking to Forgrave on the phone, and somebody walked by and said, "Hi, Reid," and I said, "That sounds like Draymond Green," and Reid said, "It was Draymond Green." Reid, just talking to your buddy Draymond Green, saw that clip. How significant will he be in this series?
I mean, he's my pick for MVP. I'm saying Warriors in 6, and Draymond gets that Finals MVP. Look, we talk about the best player on the Warriors, and the best player is Kevin Durant. We talk about the best Warrior on the Warriors, the guy that upon which this foundation is built, that's Steph Curry. But it's always been Draymond Green who is the heart and soul of this team. I mean, the guy could potentially average a triple-double in the finals. That is something that has never happened before. I don't think ever could happen again. So Draymond, to me, smartest player in the NBA. And to me, I think this is going to be his coming out party, not just as a superstar, but as an all-time great.
All right, Reid, so if the Raptors do win this series, and few of us are picking them, you're not, I'm not, but if they do win the series, who for Toronto has the best performance outside of Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, look, to me, it's Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol is key for this team. It's not like he's got to go out there and score 28 points. He just has to protect the rim, provide that elite, high IQ defense that he always provides, and then hit some threes. Because if Marc Gasol, when he gets out there and he's aggressive on the offensive end from the get-go, that's something that really sets the tone for this Raptors team, and it really opens things up for Kawhi Leonard.
All right, so Reed, I don't believe in must-win games unless it's literally a must-win game. I hate that expression unless it's an elimination game. And I know we're at the very start of a long series and a lot of things can change, ask the Bucks, but how important for you do you think it is, given that KD's out right now, given home court advantage, how important do you think it is to the Raptors that they get this win tonight?
I mean, that's something that Serge Ibaka said the other day. He remembers when he was on the Thunder and they were up 3-1 and they didn't put him away. With the Warriors, you got to put your foot on their throat when you can. And look, some people will say, hey, they're a better team without KD. And they'll point to the whole, they're 31-1 when KD's out of the lineup and when Steph Curry's in the lineup. That is obviously hogwash. This team, KD provides them just one more weapon, just that much more depth. And that weapon, that safety valve, if you will, happens to be the best scorer on planet Earth.
All right, Reed, last question for you. What happens tonight? Give us your game one prediction, and I'm curious what you think Steph Curry does.
I do think that the Raptors take one. There's so much momentum, such a feeling of joy and commitment with this team. I think this team builds off what they did in that Bucks series. I think they do a good job of limiting Steph. And then just like we saw in the Rocket series, just like we saw in the Blazers series, Steph is going to find a way, and eventually in this series, he will break out.
All right, Reed, great stuff. Tell Draymond Green, everybody at CBS Sports HQ says hello, and we'll catch you again later this series.
Thanks, bud.
Great stuff by Reed. By the way, I've been around the NBA for a long time. It's not normal for an NBA reporter to be walking across the court and for an NBA star to be like, what's up, dude? Good job, Reed Forgrave. Fun show. We'll obviously cover what happens tonight, tomorrow. CBS Sports HQ from Fort Lauderdale is going to get you all prepared, set up, ready to go, and updated on everything that's happening in sports, including this NBA Finals. It's just a few hours away. Sportsline's got you covered in 30 minutes. I'm Bill Reiter, and we'll see you here on the show tomorrow.